WikiLeaks dealing another massive blow to American foreign wars. This time, the online whistleblower has exposed scores of Iraq documents detailing torture and hundreds of civilian deaths. Well, let's talk more about this scandal. Joining me now from London is Craig Murray. He's a former British ambassador to Uzbekistan, who's alleged his country's complicity in human rights abuses there. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Murray. Who do you think got the most and has the most to gain from leaks like this?
I think today's been fascinating because of the sheer volume of documents released. 490,000 documents, which detail an awful lot of undoubted war crimes, killing of civilians, execution of detainees. Really, it's been a fascinating morning and a very, very interesting press conference here in London.
Now, in your case, you claimed MI6 used information obtained through torture in Uzbekistan. Why did you choose to lift the lid you knew would be damaging to your country's government?
Yes, I mean, in my own case, I released information on MI6's involvement in receiving intelligence from torture by the Uzbek security services, but that was only part of a whole system of extraordinary rendition. I managed to leak documents onto the net. Now we have WikiLeaks, which is a much more powerful tool for releasing information, has enabled people to get out quite an extraordinary volume of information about the conduct of this war and revealing some very dark secrets which the American government in particular would like to keep secret.
Doesn't releasing such reports, big or small, like in your case, damage national security like the Pentagon is claiming?
I think what becomes more and more plain is that there's no real relationship between the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and international security. These are not wars which are genuinely keeping us safe in the West. These are wars which, by their effect upon the civilian populations and because of the many atrocities committed by coalition forces, are causing more hatred towards the West and therefore are actually decreasing international security. So I think actions like those by WikiLeaks in releasing so many documents and letting in the truth about what's happening are helping long-term international security.
Now, such documents appear to be authentic, but they can't be independently verified. WikiLeaks, of course, is not giving anything away. How can we trust documents like this?
Well, I think there appears to be no doubt the documents are genuine, but of course they do tell the story in as good a light as they possibly can. The documents were written by members of the American military, so you aren't going to get members of the American military writing a document saying, I killed 4 young Iraqi girls this morning. You have to use your intelligence in reading them to realize that in many cases the documents put the best possible light for the Americans on what was happening. But even despite that, they do reveal, this terrible catalogue and the sheer numbers involved. One thing which is absolutely fascinating and goes to that question of trust is that the American and British governments have been telling us for 10 years that they did not keep any count of Iraqi civilian casualties. They didn't keep records of Iraqi civilian casualties, therefore they would not say how many Iraqi civilians had been killed. That turns out to be a complete lie, and in fact they were documenting in great detail Iraqi civilian casualties. In fact, at least 70,000 Iraqi civilian casualties are detailed in these records of Iraqi civilians killed by coalition forces.
Craig Murray, we'll have to leave it there. Former British ambassador to Uzbekistan, who's alleged his country's complicity in human rights abuses there. Thank you very much for your time.